How's it going?
Hi, Miss
Hi,
Jovi.
Miss Jovi.
Hi. How are
Hi.
you?
We're good.
I'm
Good. We had a nice long weekend, didn't we?
Mhm.
Did anybody do anything fun over the weekend?
I went to the beach.
Yes. You're excited. Did you have fun at the beach,
Yes.
Caleb?
Yeah, it was fun.
That's awesome. Anybody else?
My parents took me to the museum.
Oh, that's so cool. What was your favorite thing about the museum?
I liked the cars.
The cars.
The
Hmm.
old cars.
Wow.
Oh, I like
See,
car
I'm not
cars.
much of a car person myself, but that sounds pretty cool. So, what I was doing this weekend is I was listening to some relaxing music. And as I was listening to that music, I was kind of thinking about how the different elements in the song, like the sounds of rain in the background or the piano in the background, made me feel peaceful, and how things like that, dynamics of songs, can change your mood. So, before we start our lesson today, I'm going to play a little tune for you guys. Okay, does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
I like music. That scared me.
It's loud, Miss Jovi. It's loud.
Sorry, guys, I had to do that to you. So, that surprised many of us. It surprised me, and I've seen it over and over again. Can any of you guys describe to me what kind of emotions you felt as that song was playing? Yes, Kelly?
When the piano was playing, it made me very calm and it was so pretty and beautiful. And then when it changed and the other music came on, it scared me and I didn't like the way it made me feel inside.
Yeah, you're right. You know, the beginning of the song had a very peaceful element, right? And then something changed in the song. The dynamics changed in the song. And that affected your mood, right? It completely changed that. So that's kind of what we're going to be learning about today. We're going to be talking about poems and songs and how different elements of poems and songs, like their structure and their dynamics and their lyrics, can affect our mood. Can you guys take a look at my board? I'm going to go over the objectives that we're going to be learning about today. We're going to be referring to the structural elements of poems. Now, who remembers us talking about the structural elements of poems? Does anybody remember when we talked about
I
that?
do.
Yeah, so we kind of are familiar with things like meter and verse. So we're going to
Stanza.
be, stanza. I know, that was your favorite one, Kayla. We're going to be going over that again today, but we're also going to be adding a musical element into our lesson. We're going to be, like I said, focusing on the lyrics and dynamics of different songs and how they make us feel. Okay, so let's get back to poetry. We're going to have a little poetry review. And the first thing I would like us to do is I would like for us to speak my poem that I have right up on the board. It's called Bookstorm. It's written by Ken Nisbet. We're going to say it out loud. We're going to say it all together. Hopefully we can get on the same rhythm and same beat as we say. And I'm going to be pointing to the words, so that might help you guys with the beat. All right, are we ready?
Right.
Yeah.
So first thing we do when we read a poem is we have to read the
Title.
title. Yes. All right.
Bookstorm.
Ready?
I wasn't doing anything, just lying on my bed. When my dictionary tumbled down and smacked me on the head. Then Harry Potter toppled off and Judy Moody too. I almost got knocked out by Wimpy Kid and Nancy Drew. Then Fancy Nancy whacked me. All those goosebumps were intense. They landed with a series of unfortunate events. So now I'm in a pile of books. It's something of a shame. This never should have happened. I have just myself to blame.
That was a very cute poem. I like how the author incorporated all those texts that we've been reading throughout the school year, and he did something with that. So we're gonna talk about certain structural elements of our poems that we were going over earlier. Can anybody remember any of the elements that we learned about this week? Any structural elements, Kelly?
Verse.
Verse. Yes, we did learn about verse. Kelly, I want you guys, real quick before you come up, I want you to look at my anchor chart that I have up here. This is our I Poet, our structural elements of poetry. So as we review and go over the different elements that we learned about, I want you guys to come put the app up on the phone, okay? And I want you to come read the definition. So, Kelly, you said you remembered verse, so why don't you come up and put the verse app on our anchor chart. Good job. And Kelly, what is a verse? What is a verse?
One line of a poem.
It's one line of a poem. Okay, so Kelly, can you grab a highlighter from the middle of the table? I want you to underline a verse from our poem that we just read.
Harry Potter tumbled off.
Good job. And how do you know that off is the end of that verse?
Because that's where we stopped.
That's where we stopped, yes, where our
And
rhythm
Harry
stopped. And there's
Potter
something behind the
tumbled
word that
off.
tells us that's the end of the line. What is that?
The comma.
The comma. Good job.
Uh-huh.
All right. Can anybody else remember any other structural elements that we were learning about? Caleb,
The stanza.
the stanza. Good job.
I knew
Okay,
he was gonna pick
Caleb,
that.
come up and put our stanza app on our iPoet. Okay. Caleb, can you read to us what a stanza is?
It's lines grouped together like a paragraph.
Like a paragraph. All right, so Caleb, I want you to do a job for me. Can you grab one of those highlighters, any color that's not yellow, because it seems that Kelly has used that, and can you underline one stanza from our poem? So it's going to be lines that are all grouped together. Good job. They landed with a series of unfortunate events. Now, when we read that phrase by itself, does it sound a little lonely?
Yeah.
They landed with a series of unfortunate events. Can you read the sentence right before it?
All those goosebumps were intense. Oh.
So, continue. You can continue reading.
They landed with a series of unfortunate events.
All right. So, do you think there's still more that could be grouped in that stanza?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you underline it for me? Good job. You did awesome. You can put that away. All right. Can anybody name one more structural element that we talked about?
Kind of like the beat, like the cadence, like the
Good.
rhythm.
Good. The rhythm. So the rhythm is the beat of the poem. So the beat of the poem, that was kind of like something we were doing as we were reading, right? That's how we were stopping and starting at the same time. We were on beats when it came to different lines of the sentence. So that's the beat of the poem. All right, good job, you guys, on the review of the structural elements of the poem. All right, so since you guys did such a good job with our group activity, I want you to try it on your own. So here's what we're gonna do. You guys are each gonna get a sheet of song lyrics. And you're gonna have to work together because you're gonna have to share a computer. But I'm going to pull up a pinwheel on my laptop, okay? On our iPad that you guys are gonna be sharing. And you guys are going to click the wheel and see which structural element that the wheel lands on. So it's gonna have all of these: verse, stanza, rhyme, rhythm, and meter. And whichever one it lands on, I want you to take one colored highlighter and find it in your song. Okay? Once you've done that, we're gonna do it one more time. I want you guys to find 2 different structural elements, and I want you to use 2 different highlighters. Okay? So we can differentiate between the 2. Does anybody have any questions before we start? No? Okay, so I'm gonna pass out our song lyrics. You guys can go ahead and grab 2 different colored highlighters. Okay. So as you can see, you guys are gonna have a wheel that you're going to spin. So all you have to do is click the wheel to spin it, and it will land on a rhythm. Okay, so since you guys are working together, how about we do ladies first? Okay, just click it. Okay. What did it land on, Kelly?
Meter.
Meter. Okay, so you guys are looking for the meter. So I want you guys to take a second to read the song lyrics that I provided you with and try to find the meter. Remember that we have our anchor chart right up here. So if you're confused and you don't remember what one of the elements are, you can always look up here. You're free to you're welcome to come up to the board if you can't see, and you can use that to help you out. All right, you guys did such a good job at this activity. Caleb, can you share with us one of the elements that you had to find? What was one of the elements that you had to find?
Stanza.
You had to find a stanza. Okay, can you turn to your partner, Kelly, and show her where you found the stanza in your song lyric? Oh, okay. All right, you guys, you did awesome working on your own. Now, since you guys have mastered the elements of different poems, we're going to be focusing on one thing that I said we were going to focus on earlier: how songs and different poems and elements make us
Feel.
how they make us feel. Yes. All right, so here's what we're going to do. You guys are going to number off 1 by 1s and 2s. The 1s are going to head to my center over here that's labeled 1. The 2s are going to head to my center over here that's labeled 2. What you will get is you will receive a clipboard with a piece of paper and a pencil. And once I tell you to, I want you to go to your center and I want you to click play on the laptop. So one center is going to have a song that's going to be sung, and the other center is going to have a poem that's going to be spoken. And as you guys listen to the song and the poem, I want you to write down adjectives. Remember, we've gone over adjectives, things that are descriptors, you know, feelings, thoughts. And how does the poem or song make you feel as you listen to it? Okay, so that's what we're going to be working on. Does anybody have any questions before we break into our groups and before we start? No? Okay, so how about we start by numbering off by 1 and 2. Caleb, can you start numbering off?
1.
2.
All right, so you can go ahead.
Mr. Law, does it matter which clipboard we take?
No, it does not. All right.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead and grab a clipboard. You need help logging onto the computer, Caleb?
Yeah.
No problem. Alright, so whenever you guys are ready, you can go ahead and click play on your poem and or song. And I want you to write down some adjectives.
Miss Jovi, it's not loading.
I am the river flowing, I am the desert dry, I am the four winds blowing, I am the sunset sky, I am the forest breathing, I am the ocean wide, I am the snow-clad gathering, I am the mountain
by myself. When I'm by myself and I close my eyes, I'm a twin. I'm a dimple and a chin. I'm a room full of toys. I'm a squeaky noise. I'm a
Remember, we're
glass
writing down adjectives. How are these
I'm a leaf turning
songs
red.
and poems making
I'm a
you
loaf
feel?
of brown bread.
What emotions are
Whatever
coming
I
up?
want to be, and anything I care to be. And when I open my eyes, what I care to be is me. By Eloise Greenfield.
All right, you guys, you can go ahead and head back to your seats. Find your seats. Okay. You guys did wonderful. I loved walking around and I was able to look at some of the words that you guys wrote and I found some wonderful discoveries. You guys really thought about what emotions you were feeling. So, I want you guys to find someone in the room that was a different number than you. So if you were a 2, you cannot partner with a 2, find a 1. And I want you guys to share with your partner what kind of video you watched and share some of the adjectives that you wrote down with your partner. How is it making you feel? All right, you guys can turn and talk to your partner.
Okay.
Find your partners.
Okay, let me read to you. I had a poem that was singing, and whenever it said that it was a river flowing, it just made me feel really fast, like quick. And then it said it was errant, dry, it made me feel thirsty. And then it said it was an ocean wide, and I thought being
All right, you guys, good job. I loved walking around and listening to the discussions that you guys were having. I'm going to ask real quickly, Caleb, can you tell me what your partner was sharing with you?
She was sharing how there was words that made her feel fast, or there was one where she said she felt thirsty, and there was one word that was fast.
That's awesome. That's amazing. You know what, I really loved that you were focusing on the words rather than the song and lyrics that were being played in the background. Rather than the instrumentals, you focused on what are the words telling me. So I think that's really cool because most people won't focus on that at the beginning. All right, you guys have been doing awesome. So all of those activities that we did were ones to kind of help to prepare you for this final task that I'm going to ask you to perform. All right, since you guys have had all this practice, it's time for you to do it on your own. So you guys are going to incorporate both aspects of the lesson that we learned today, and you are going to be writing your own poem.
Ah.
So there are 6 requirements for your poem, and I'm going to share them with you. If you could just take a look right up at my board. Okay, so these are the poem requirements that I'm going to ask of you. So you guys are going to have one verse in your poem. Remember, a verse is 1 line of a poem. Easy peasy, you guys have that. Your poem also needs to have a rhythm. So if I were to read your poem, I should be able to catch a rhythm, by the 2nd or 3rd line. If I'm not really able to, if I'm guessing, then it doesn't have a rhythm. So keep in mind the poem that we read, the beats that you hear with songs, keep that in mind as you're writing your poem. It's going to need at least 2 lines of meter. So meter is pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables. So for example, in our poem, different syllables that would be stressed and unstressed. Then Harry Potter toppled off and Judy Moody too. So Judy and Moody were kind of more expressed than the other words. So those are the words that you put more emphasis on. So I should be able to tell that you're putting emphasis on certain words. It needs at least 1 line of 1 stanza. So it needs at least 1 paragraph, right? A cluster of words grouped together. So you guys should be able to hash that out really quickly. It needs to have at least 2 rhyming words. Okay, that's not very hard. I'd urge you to strive to rhyme throughout the whole poem or rhyme in certain areas of the poem. I want to see at least 2, but I'd love to see more. And the last part of your poem is it needs to be connected with some sort of emotion. So I want you to think about an emotion before you write your poem. Think humor. Okay, I'm going to write a funny poem. Or sadness. I'm going to write a sad poem. All right? So you guys are going to have the remainder of the class period to work on your poems. You guys are going to be handed these worksheets that's provided you with all the space that you guys need to write your poems. And I'm just going to let you look at the anchor chart, look at the requirements, remember our lesson, and you guys can go ahead and start. You guys did such an amazing job writing your poems. I got to go home and grade the poems, and I was very touched by the things that I read, the things that you guys said in your poems, how creative you were able to get. And there was a couple poems that I would like for you guys to share aloud with the class, if that's okay with you. Kelly, I thought you did a great job at your poem. Would you mind sharing it with the class?
Okay.
Wow, that was a great poem.
Thank you.
Can you tell the class, what emotion did you use when you wrote the poem? What emotion were you trying to tie in?
I was trying to tie in how sometimes I feel awkward and those feelings that I have being awkward. So when I was writing the poem about being clumsy, it was kind of like helping me to talk about it.
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
really enjoyed your poem. So when you guys think about the activities that we did yesterday, when we were talking about structures of poems, can you tell me what activities did you enjoy doing when you were working throughout the day? You know, was it working with your partners? Was it being able to use an interactive poem? Can anybody tell me something
I
you
liked
enjoyed?
working with Kelly and sharing the words that we shared.
That's good. I love to hear that you guys are excited about peer interaction. So we learned about the structural elements of a poem. What else did we learn about yesterday? We learned about how a
The
poem or
effects.
songs can make
Yeah, like when the
Feeling.
pianos turned
Feel,
into
yes,
that
yes.
scary. Remember
Can
we
somebody tell
jumped?
me why? Why is it important that we recognize that different parts of songs and different elements of writing has an emotional tie on us? Why is it important that we know that this can affect our emotions? This is going to require maybe you guys to think out of the box. Any answer is fine. I just want you to tell me, why do you think it's important that we have to know about this?
Because it's important to know how we feel.
You're right, it's important to understand our feelings. That's great. And music and poetry can help us express and understand our feelings. That's wonderful. Anything else?
I think we get to pick what we like sometimes. If we like poems or music that get us excited, then those are the kinds that we can pick for us to read or to maybe share with others.
Right. All right, you guys did awesome today, okay? I want you to clean up, pack up. We're gonna head out to lunch real soon, okay?
Okay, thank you, Miss Casper.